Hi there, this is Penelope. This is a short video in a series of short videos on the topic of reviewing basic arithmetic skills. So now we're looking at powers, negative indices. The question is, how do we interpret x to the negative 3 or something like 2 to the negative 4? First up though, we need to note that any expression like this with a negative power follows the same rules as those with positive powers. So before we get into these two, let's look at something like x to the 4 over x to the 6. Now if we wrote that out in full, it would be x 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if we wrote that out as x over x, x over x, x over x, x over x, then it would become 1 over x squared. If we followed the rules, that would be x to the 4 minus 6, x to the negative 2, and these have got to be the same. So what we've got from here is that 1 over x squared must be equal to x to the negative 2. So a negative power is the same as the reciprocal, the 1 over, the positive power. So x to the negative n is the same as the reciprocal of x to the positive power. So you need to learn that. You won't be asked to prove it, but you need to learn that x to the negative n is 1 over x to the n. So now we can look at what does it mean x to the negative 3. So x to the negative 3, just using the rule, is 1 over x cubed. Before we do the next one, let's break it up so that it's 2 times x to the negative 1. Now we can see that that's 2 times 1 over x to the power of 1. I don't need that. I can just write it 2 times 1 over x. And then I can leave that as 2 times 1, which is 2 over x. To evaluate 2 to the negative 4, I can first rewrite it as 1 over 2 to the power of 4, and then figure out that 2 to the power of 4 is 16. The next one I can do in a couple of ways. I can realise that the negative power tells me it's the reciprocal, the 1 over 0.5 cubed, and I can look that up on my calculator and see that that's 0.125, and 1 over 0.125 is 8. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it would be to say that that's a half to the negative 3, and the negative power means it's 1 over to the positive power, so that's 2 over 1 to the power of 3, which is then 8, which is good because that's the same answer as we got before. Okay, just a summary then. Now this last one, the second one here, just think about that one, because sometimes the rearranged version is useful. Let's look at it. So it's 1 over a to the negative m. We could have written the top line as a to the 0. So that's a to the 0 minus negative m, which is a to the power of 0 plus m, which is a to the power of m. So you can prove it in your head. You don't need to prove it, but just learn those two, that a to the negative m is 1 over a to the m, and a to the m is 1 over a to the negative m. We could have written it like that, and then you're dividing by a fraction, so it would be 1 times. Now invert and multiply, so we've got the same answer. So whichever way you come at it, it's the same.